All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about some pretty crazy stuff in the CS2 market world. We're talking about some rumors, some potential news, some potential data that if this stuff is all true, which again, I don't know 100% that it's true, but I'm seeing it in like multiple places now. It seems like a lot of people are taking it as true, taking it as fact. And if this stuff is true, it could show that Valve is changing CS2 investing forever. And I know people use that as a clickbait and people use that as an overreaction or whatever, but this time I truly mean it. There's so many, riptides and waves that this thing could shake up in the entire CS2 world. It's a massive story that not enough people are talking about, but we're going to be covering it in this video today, catching you guys up to speed on everything that is going on. But of course, first, just want to mention my cash trading business. If you guys are looking to sell any of your CS2 items, turn them into cold hard cash, crypto, PayPal, whatever other payment method, definitely hit me up over on Twitter. It's going to be the first link in the description below. I'm willing to buy anything and everything for the right price, but of course, we're always trying to get those big deals done. So if you have any expensive skins, gloves, knives, bulk cases, maybe you want to sell your entire inventory, whatever, hit me up. We can get you cashed out safely, effectively, and efficiently today. Some cool stuff I've been picking up recently. This Bayonet Doppler Phase 4, pretty sick. AK Bloodsport Field Tested, one of my favorite skins in the entire game. We have this Stat Track AK-47 Wasteland Rebel and Battle Scarred. Okay skin, some knives, all that different kind of stuff. Maybe you can be the next person that we help cash out. With that being said, let's get right into this video today. So, this is a tweet that I saw a couple of days ago from Skin.Land Market. They are, the CS2 marketplace, whatever, which is, kind of a random person for this tweet to be coming from. And that's why originally I kind of wrote this off. And I think a lot of other people kind of wrote this off as well. But here they say, Valve bumped the sealed Genesis terminal drop rate to about 40%. Owners of case farming accounts claim the odds got a huge boost. See the screenshot. More terminals equals more money. Now, this is absolutely insane. If you don't know what this means right off the bat. So, at the most basic level, how the case drop system in CS2 works, or how it has previously worked, is 1% of all your drops are going to be the rare cases. That 1% is split up between all 30, 35, 40, however many rare cases there are, meaning that every rare case is like a percentage point of a percentage point, whatever, in terms of what you're getting dropped. Then, the typically 5 active duty cases get the other 99%, meaning that each of the other rare cases is about a 20% drop rate, a little bit less than a 20% drop rate, like 19.2 or whatever, 19.1 something. I don't know what the exact math was. It doesn't really even matter. But if Valve truly did change the sealed Genesis terminal to 40%, like again, Skinland is claiming, again, I don't know if this is true. I'm not in these farming markets, these farming discords, whatever. A lot of people were like, oh, why would Skinland be tweeting this? A lot of other people were like, oh, why am I not seeing anyone else tweet about this or talk about this or whatever? But what they have in this screenshot here shows us that the sealed Genesis terminal, according to these case farmers, and obviously case farmers, they're getting a ton of drops. They have this knowledge. They have this info. Case farmers and farming bots, whatever, these big waves are claiming that right now the sealed Genesis terminal is dropping at an abnormal rate. They're getting, the other cases dropped around 15% of the time. You can see there, Recoil, Revolution, Kilowatt, Dreams, and Nightmare. Yeah, they're anywhere between 16 and 13%. Some of that is they just don't have a big enough data or sample size yet for that all to even out. But clearly, there's enough data already and enough cases being dropped already to show that if this is true and if this is real, whatever, which I don't know. At this point, it seems like it is. I have no idea. Seems like the sealed Genesis terminal is being dropped at a bigger rate, and then you can see there all the other cases getting dropped at a much smaller rate. Now, the people in the comments, when they first posted this, people were rightfully skeptical. A bunch of people were saying like, oh, source, I made it up. A bunch of people were just asking for sources and stuff like that. But then they're claiming, they have another screenshot here of another group that has very, very similar data. Again, here you can see about around a 40% drop rate for the sealed Genesis terminal, and then again, about 15% for everything else. So this is very, very interesting. And like I said, I don't think enough people are talking about this. Now, I kind of just wrote this off. I kind of ignored about it, like forgot about it, whatever. I didn't know if it was true. Didn't want to, be spreading misinformation or whatever. And then I saw Jesus start talking about it in his video. So he, deems this to be true, is, taking this off as fact, whatever. So then it started to become more interesting. Now people are starting to become more and more aware about this. So what I wanted to look a little bit was if this was true, I think a couple of things would be happening. One, I think we would see the sealed Genesis terminal prices going down faster than we've seen most typical new cases on their release, because again, we're getting a bigger supply of these, so the price should be dropping faster. But also, I thought we would probably be getting a price rise in terms of the other active duty cases, because they're getting dropped less often. But it's potentially, that the market is already going down in general, so maybe we wouldn't necessarily see a price rise there. But also, maybe since they're only taking a small percentage from each of the other cases to all add up to the bigger drop rate for the Seal Genesis terminal, maybe it wouldn't be that big of an issue. I don't really know. So let's take a look at what's been going on with the other cases. What we've seen over the past month is the Dreams and Nightmares case falling. It was $2.13. It is now down to $1.85. We have the Recoil case. It's actually up a little bit from about 39 cents to about 45 cents. But I think that is partly due to the fact that obviously people now expect the Recoil case to be the next case eventually removed from the active duty. So I think the overall value, or the perceived value of the Recoil case, has raised a little bit from this new update. Revolution case, it's down a little bit. It was previously 60 cents. Now it's down to about 57. That's not a huge drop though. Kilowatt case was previously about 57 cents over the past month. Now it's down to about 51. So I don't know. We're not really seeing these cases drop much, but like I said, there's a lot of things that can affect these case prices. Maybe if the drop rates had been higher, maybe these cases would have dropped more. Maybe people just don't know about it. Maybe people just don't care. And they are still active drop cases. They're still dropping in very, very big amounts. But at the same time, there is so many other investments right now that people are very, very likely, like myself, I know I sold off a ton of my active duty cases to buy some other stuff. There's a ton of good armory investments right now. There is, Austin capsules that I know some people were buying. There's just so many other places to be putting your money. Also just into, armory passes and stuff like that to get some of the new collections, to get stars, all that stuff. So this wasn't necessarily the case. But what is a little bit interesting is when we look at the Seal Genesis terminal here, we can see that when this release, the first day that these were tradable, they were selling for about $43. And now, that was September 16th. Today is what? October 5th. So I think it's been, about 3 weeks since this thing's been out. And we are now currently at $1.53. We are under $2. So I wanted to zoom out and look at how long it took the other cases to kind of get under that $2 price point. And we can go to the lifetime and see that the kilowatt case, the first day that it was tradable, say it was $14 or whatever, started at an even lower price. But before it finally got under $2, this didn't happen. It started to happen around April 3rd, into April, and this came out in February. So it took around 2.5 months to get, under $2, and then to get under $1, to get to closer to $1 price point took, a couple of months. And Genesis seems like it's getting closer and closer to that. We also have, this is the Revolution case, who again, the first day that it came out was about $13.46. And for it to get under $2, this thing actually, it was about May, towards the end of May, which is again close to 3 months. So it's taken the Genesis terminal to get under $2 about 3 weeks, or like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and it took the other cases a couple of months. So that could show a couple things. Again, this could show that the Genesis case is being dropped in higher numbers. It also could just show that the Seal Genesis terminal is a trash case that nobody wants, and it doesn't have a ton of value. People hate it. It doesn't have a gold. Like, there's so many different things going on here. But no matter what, if this is true, if they really did increase the drop rate to 40%, why would they do this? There is some speculation that people are like, oh, Valve wants more people to, have these and open them because Valve's, going to make money if people are actually buying them and whatever. But I don't really know if that's true because, again, Valve makes a lot of money when people get dropped cases and they buy keys and stuff like that. And I really don't think Valve is making much money off the Seal Genesis terminals because people aren't really redeeming them. The prices are ass. Like, I have a couple of my tweets here where, I saw that people were saying the Genesis terminals were ass, but I was like, oh, I want to try it out for myself because, in theory, the Genesis cases should at some points be good because, the idea here is if people keep declining the offers, the prices are going to drop to a point where they're eventually good and then people will redeem the offers till they're bad. But from what I've seen, they're just always bad. But I opened up a couple myself, and I actually got this right here, this minimal wear, high float minimal wear UMP 45 Continuum for 43 cents. Now, I went and looked on Steam. This thing was selling for like $3. I was like, damn, this was the very first offer from the very first terminal that I got a couple of days ago. I was like, damn, maybe these terminals are actually pretty good. But that was the only good offer I got. As I opened up more and more of them, I actually ended up getting an AK-47 Oligarch, and the price was $91, which is just not good. Yeah, this is like a low float battle scarred, but still, it's ass. And so many of the offers I got were either for break-even Steam prices, where you'd be losing money after the Steam fees, or just bad prices and bad offers. So there's really no point. You can literally just buy the stuff on Steam for the same prices, or sometimes even cheaper prices. There's no reason to be redeeming these things at all. So again, why would Valve do this? Maybe it's to try to skirt around regulations. Maybe it's to try and show people that, hey, we're dropping these in big amounts. We're trying to give these to people. We're trying to get away from that, case drops and dropping people just like slot machines and stuff like that. I don't really know. But no matter what, this has a huge impact on everything. And as a case investor, if this is true, this is really, really good news. This means that less recoil cases are being created, less revolution cases are being created, less, kilowatt cases, less dreams and nightmares cases are being created. And at this time, since we do have the sealed Genesis terminal, that is a case that people don't really like, that people aren't really opening, it doesn't even have a gold in it, we are actually seeing case unboxing numbers not really going down that much. Again, we've still seen the Genesis terminal's been out for about 3 weeks now. We've still seen 32 million cases unboxed in the past month, which, if you know anything about case unboxing numbers, anything over 30 million, anything over 1 million cases unboxed per day is pretty good. And again, this isn't even including, like, CS2 Case Tracker doesn't even include the sealed Genesis terminal as a case. So this is not even including any openings that have happened from the sealed Genesis terminal, which, again, I don't think is like that big of or significant of an amount. But again, if the Genesis terminal, the Genesis terminal was created and it was not replaced by a new case, we got the fracture going from the active pool to the red drop pool, not being replaced by an active case. We also had the gallery going discontinued, not being replaced by a new case. So we got, 2 cases removed from, like, actively dropping or being actively able to be gotten, easily, and neither of them was replaced by anything, which now means these case unboxings that we have are going to be spread across all these other cases, which is really, really good. It means we're going to be eating into case supplies and the cases that we have, the existing cases, even faster, because people are always going to open cases. Opening cases is a thing. People love it. People are addicted to it. People want to do it. People want to chase the crazy skins, the knives, the golds, all that stuff. So people are going to keep opening cases. And if the active duty cases are getting dropped even less often, and, we get the gallery discontinued and all that stuff, that's going to be even better for case investors. And obviously, as a case investor myself, that's something that I love to hear. That's awesome. That's great. Whatever. So I don't know. If this is true, like I said, which again, I cannot 100% confirm, but it seems like most of the CS2 community and even big players in the CS2 community are taking this as fact. They're taking this as true. This is a very, very, very big update, and it changes so much different stuff. Now, again, they could tweak these numbers. This could change. Maybe they just wanted to do this right on release, and they'll, bump the numbers down over time. Maybe this is just another sign of them, slowly changing how the whole case system works in CS2, and they're going to, continue to push new terminals on us and slowly phase out cases, which again would be insane news for CS2 case investors. That would make me want to get my hands on as many cases as possible, even more than I already do now. But yeah, this is a pretty massive change that obviously is not going to be in any patch notes, it's not going to be any updates or anything like that. But that, it seems like some case farmers are starting to realize and starting to figure out, and maybe there's some ways to take advantage of it. At the very least, like I said, this is very, very good for case farmers, but it also, is potentially good for even the active duty cases in terms of them being investments in the long term. But yeah, this is a very, very massive change. Like I said, has been flying under the radar a little bit. So I want to let you guys know about, and maybe somebody else, maybe one of you guys out there has more information or, is involved in any of these discords or chats or whatever and has more information about this stuff for us. I don't really know. But yeah, great news if this is true for CS2 case investors, and just another sign that Valve could potentially be changing, everything about CS2 investing, the CS2 market, CS2 economy, CS2 cases, which is pretty insane stuff. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.